What? Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome.
Yo, what is going on? Welcome back to Best Ball Breakdown. We have got a great show this week. We've got Mark Garcia, aka Hilo, in his truck, maybe the greatest streaming setup of all time, ripping a draft with us right off of work. And our guide, friend of the show, friend of FantasyPoints, Neil Orfield, joining us tonight. One of the best ball players in the space, one of the best DFS players in the space. We got a fun show tonight. We're going to be ripping a BBM draft here. We're going to get that started. Mark, you're in your truck right now. Is that right?
Yeah, dude. I just I'm actually I'm on Coronado in San Diego. Just got done with working for the Navy. I'm working through the weekend for them. But we do not rest, man. No rest for the wicked. We are here.
Yeah, I love it, man. This is true dedication. Drafting out of a truck. I think you'll probably be the only person in the space to stream out of your truck this season.
I've never seen it. I watch a lot of streams. I've never seen
it. It's a legendary performance from Mark tonight. By the way, if you're not familiar with Neil, he does great work. He is putting out just an absolute ton of content over on YouTube. His YouTube link is in the description below. Make sure you're checking out Neil's stuff. He will have his show back with our guy Scott Barrett this year. In my opinion, one of the best DFS shows in the space. Neil, you're the guest tonight, so of course you're going to have honors on the clock. We will be picking fifth, so finally middle of the board. We've been picking it like the back or the front pretty much all year, so nice to get a little middle of the board here. Neil, I think this 5 spot is, kind of, you get the clear cut tier of the blue chip players.
Yeah.
Is there anything like weird you're doing in this spot? You bumping up any receivers that you're, trying to draft heavily? You drafting Bijan at all in this spot?
No, I'm pretty much straight by ADP through most of the first round. The back of the first round, sometimes I'll mix it up, but in the top half of the first round, it's straight up just CMC, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Love them. I'll take them in that order. Get even exposure to all.
Yeah, I've been with you on Jefferson over Amon-Ra all year. Amon-Ra projects really well. Chris, our projections guy, absolutely loves Amon-Ra. It's really hard not to, just because the target share is going to be bananas for him this year. But yeah, Jefferson's the best wide receiver in football, so I've got that same order. What's up? Live in San Diego too. We got 2 guys hanging in San Diego tonight. Thanks for joining us tonight. D Ludo, appreciate you, man. All right, so we got CMC Lamb, pretty chalk start. Are you taking Lamb at all at 1? I know that's kind of been a little trendy here at late.
A little bit. So mostly in my lower dollar drafts, I've been taking Lamb at 101. I've been pretty fortunate this year. I've gotten a lot more of those early picks. Like last year, I got like 6 total in BBM. I guess I only did 120 drafts, but did not get a ton of the 101 or the 102 last year. This year, I've gotten a ton of both in many of my drafts. So sometimes just out of boredom, I'll take CeeDee Lamb first. I'm typically a 0 or hero RB bro. So, CMC, if I take him, I'm probably not taking a running back for a while. CeeDee Lamb is a little bit more comfortable for me for the way I'm used to building. So yeah, I do sometimes take CeeDee at 1.
Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense. Those Lamb drafts with Devonta Smith for the week 17 correlation, bring back for another receiver, and then you're just kind of in that pocket where you can maybe jam in Pacheco or ETN or one of the backs if you feel good about it. I'm with you though. I love 0 running back this year out of that spot, especially because you can kind of force your hand a little bit being at the corner. If you want to take, somebody that you're just, massively higher than ADP on at running back, it's easier to do at the corners too. So I especially like 0 running back and just kind of leveraging those receivers, the heavy receiver start.
It's also fun on that side of the board. So I would be willing to take Dak Prescott, I think, at like 72, 73. You can usually get him, though, at 95, 96, wherever you're drafting from there. So I love starting with CD.
Yeah, Dak has really started to slip. He was kind of going in that pocket. I mean, we always have to keep in mind ADP is, heavily influenced by stacks and team stacks. It's been that way for a long time, but yeah, you can now get Dak in the 90s. Love starting to slip. Stroud is appropriately starting to slip a little bit, but yeah, man, I'm definitely with you on that. Neil, is there anybody right now that like you're basically saying, okay, I am going to take stone 0% of. Like, there's anybody in this first like 3 rounds that I'm just like Xing out of my pool.
I'm not really a stone 0 kind of guy. Like I draft so many teams that I don't take that hard of stances generally. If I were going to take a stone 0 on anybody, it would probably be either Michael Pittman or George Pickens. Most likely George Pickens would be the guy that I'm just taking 0 of. But yeah, Pittman is right there too. So I'd say those are the 2 that for me, I'm largely out on in the first 3 rounds.
Just an upside thing with Pittman?
Yeah, essentially just not sure how much they're going to be throwing the ball in general. I think Richardson going to be, running quite a bit. I guess honestly, that is the biggest part of it. It's just like I don't think the volume is going to be there. They have Josh Downs there, who the coaches obviously love. So I don't think Pittman has been kind of a funnel it to Pittman. I don't know if it's going to be the case anymore with Josh Downs looking so good last year. So those are the main reasons.
Yeah, I like that. Josh Downs I think has been underrated all year. We're massively overprojecting Downs versus ADP. Pittman I think he's fine, but I'm with you. And Mark's made a similar argument that the upside for a round 3 receiver with him is just kind of not totally there. All right, what are we doing here? We got Jefferson at the 5.
Jam Olave, right?
Okay,
here.
All right. Yeah, I got him at 15. He's a smash pick right now. He started slipping a little bit with this shoulder scare issue, but it's a non-issue, and I think he's an amazing pick right now.
Yeah, I love Olave.
Yeah, the target upside with him is just bananas. I think he's going to walk into another 140. Derek Carr stunk last year, bro. Like, that's the big thing. Like, he was all check down or throw it deep. We got to see some more from Carr, just trying to actually read the field. But dude, targets are bananas good for him.
The interesting thing with Olave too is I think he might be safer weekly floor than I think a lot of the field is considering because of how trash that offensive line is going to be now with Ramczyk going to be out. So I think he's a great, ADP versus range of outcomes type pick there.
That's a good call. He's typically been like a long ADOT kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I think that they're probably going to rein that back in a little bit, like you said, because of the offensive line. Maybe he benefits from that. Like maybe, you think you want the guys who are taking the long shots. You want him to have those long ball opportunities. But if he can rack up a few more short yardage receptions as well, that's just really raises the floor quite a bit.
Yeah.
Their secondary is always pretty good, the Saints, but there's a chance they just stink this year. Like, this team just kind of falls apart. And honestly, that's another good thing for Olave. Give me the 8, 9, 10, 11 target games on, when they're chasing. Olave has been a mainstay in round 2. I think he's actually my most drafted receiver right now in DraftKings just because he's going a little later over there.
Yep.
All right. This is where
we saw him start to fall apart last year too. I mean, they started the season being competitive in games, and then once their offensive line went to shit, they started falling apart, and that's why we saw Alvin Kamara kind of get the target.
Yeah, DK. Yeah, I was a little surprised that Dennis Allen stuck on. Obviously, they revitalized the whole coaching staff. We'll see, but yeah, it was a little surprising that Allen got another year, but he's got to be one of the top 3 coaches on the hot seat. This is a fire 3 wide receiver start.
Yeah,
with Jefferson, Olave, and Metcalf.
Really nice.
Quite nice.
I think it was before Mark showed up that we were talking about Kendre Miller and how he might be completely dead at this point. But that's funny. Hearing from Allen just so blunt, and man, I don't know.
Yeah, you read my mind because I wanted to ask Mark about what he thought about Kendre and that whole situation. I've just never seen a coach just really come out I've been doing this for 10 years. I've never heard a coach say something like that, especially on July 24th. I mean, that's just wild. What's your take? Because I know you haven't been drafting a ton of Kamara, but I do think this kind of does at least lock in his workload a little bit.
Yeah, especially, I mean, I started the offseason drafting Kendre Miller as that around 11, 12. And I really, really pumped the brakes. I don't know if I've taken a Kendre share in the last 6 weeks, maybe. And it was for all those reasons. Kind of the writing was kind of on the wall with Ramczyk, and we saw that this offense really it can lead to some dysfunction without that protection, particularly with a guy like Derek Carr. So yeah, it was just a situation where I almost entirely backed off.
Me too.
Yeah. He's a full-on X out now. I bumped him down into like the 190s, like below Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson and all those guys. Like he might be a true fatality at this point. Thomas Tipple, our producer, lovely producer, was saying that Jamal Williams is probably going to get involved. He's not wrong. Like Taysom is probably going to be the red zone guy again this year, but Williams could definitely steal some early down work, and the coaching staff just being completely out. I don't think this is a situation where I'm buying any Kendra dip. I think he's kind of almost dead, and unless he slips and basically to where I have him in the 180s, 190s. I just think the opportunity cost at this point, knowing what we know, especially now he's dealing with another hamstring injury. Yeah, full on X out here. Interesting corner, JT, Barkley, and Pacheco. Be interesting to see how that team shakes out at wide receiver. Pretty chalky third into fourth round here. Nothing too crazy. Kyron's really starting to slip here into the 30s.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, here's what I was talking. Oh, there goes ETN. Big tier here with just all these quarterbacks, one receiver. If you squint, maybe a back. What do you think, Neil?
I'd go either Christian Kirk or Trey McBride, typically.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
I like
Mark
the Kirk
split.
pick, honestly. Yeah.
All right, there we go. We'll go Kirk. A little 4 wide receiver start.
Still mighty comfy.
Yeah, we're gonna jam here in a little bit. We'll see. See what this quarterback. Oh, there goes Lamar. See what this quarterback looks like on the backside. Talk to me about Trey McBride. I've got him like right at ADP. I think he's fine. I like Mark Andrews a little more. We're projecting McBride pretty strongly, but what's your bull case for him?
So it's mostly, honestly, I see him in the same tier as Andrews and Dalton Kincaid, essentially, but it comes down to giving myself options at quarterback. So stacking outs, where I think if we could have taken Andrews here too, but I thought it was pretty unlikely that Lamar comes all the way back to 53. He may have. Yeah. I'm more inclined to do that if it's closer to the turn than we are. Like if we were at the 1 or the 2 hole, I'd be more inclined to go Andrews there. I just thought Lamar probably not coming back here. Whereas you take McBride, you can then add on Kyler later. And I just really like that Cardinal stack in general. I love the matchup with the Rams in week 17. So it's a combo of just like giving myself optionality for a stack later and just loving the week 17 matchup.
Yeah, that game total is nice, man. I kind of align more with Mark. I know he's a little down on Cardinals, but that game really could be the absolute nuts, if everybody's healthy. All right, Neil, we kind of got blocked out. Tight end here would be Kincaid if you want to go by ADP. I've got him below. What you thinking?
I'd be fine going running back here if you want to go Mixon or Cook. We can go according to ranks. I think these are all pretty solid picks here. We already have 4 wide receivers, which is nice. All
right, yeah, we'll take Mixon here. Death taxes and Joe Mixon just like being a back end RB1. Like he's gonna be a bell cow on this really good offense once again. Like Stroud's gonna be a kingmaker most likely, and that's gonna help with Mixon and the touchdowns. The efficiency has never been good with Mixon basically since like 2021. His breakout massive season. But I don't really think that matters too much, man. The volume's gonna be really sick with him, and he's a stalwart 5th round pick for me right now.
Oh yeah. Yep. And even when ADP was released, he was in like the 70s or something. Like it was insane. We when these contests just came out, I was like, I don't understand it. We expect this offense to be good. This guy's probably going to be on the field 75% snap rate. Like, just
it could have been the pre-draft contest. He was going even later than that, I think. Before he went to the Texans. So I think it might have been just like ADP is slow to shift. So like the change in team maybe just was still kind of reacting.
Yeah, Mark, you and I've talked about this a few times, but Mixon was like the one guy I earmarked that would really come up in ADP, and it just like hasn't happened. And I'm just completely fine just jamming him. I mean, it's just it feels, I don't know. It's the old dead zone, so it feels weird still, but like it's just I don't know. At the same time,
and look at this draft. Like Pacheco went a round and a half before Mixon, and they were about the same when these contests dropped. Pacheco has absolutely rocketed up, and Mixon just kind of hasn't budged much.
Yeah. Pacheco was in the 50s for a little, which was awesome in May. That was a great time. That's never going to happen again. But we were having the Rashee Rice conversation in projections Discord. Neil, I got to ask you how you're handling these Chiefs receivers now. We see Rashee come off the board at 60. I mean, this summer. Man, shoe boy, the ADP got wild with him. How are you handling Chiefs? How are you handling Rashee? in this whole, kind of Chiefs wide receiver situation.
I'm essentially playing it by ADP. I really like them. I think all the Chiefs are really solid bets. Like I think it's just going to be an offense that's going to put up a ton of points this year. And it's kind of unclear what the pecking order is, so I'm just letting ADP kind of determine it for me. I'm not great at being able to like guess who is going to be the guy who emerges. I feel like you can make a case for any of the three of them. Rashee Rice obviously is the guy who was already there. We've already seen it from him with Mahomes. Like they already have that relationship going in. Hollywood Brown, we've seen him be pretty good in the past. He's never had a quarterback like Mahomes, obviously. And then Xavier Worthy is like super exciting. Like just seeing what he can do with a quarterback who can get him the ball down the field, get him the ball short and see if he can just take off with his speed. I think he's really exciting as well. So honestly, I think they're all great bets. I'm kind of just letting the ADP dictate where I take them, the order that I take them in. But yeah, I'm pretty in on all of them.
Yeah, it just feels like Mahomes is just so. I mean, I think everybody's on this. Obviously, ADP is on this, but Mahomes is just so due for a bounce back. What you thinking here, man? We got Kittle.
I love both of the top two on the board. I'd probably go Worthy here, just because we could throw on Ingram onto our stack for the next pick.
Don't mind that.
If you want to go Kittle, I'm cool with that too.
Looks
like you're not high on Ingram.
No, I am.
Oh, okay.
But he's gone, actually.
Oh, he is. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
No, let's go Kittle. Let's go Kittle if we can.
Missed it. Oh, shit.
That's my bad. I missed that. When did he go?
Let's see. He went way early, 6-1.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. I'm okay with Worthy. I mean, I haven't taken a ton of him. I've taken him with Mahomes. That's pretty much the only time I take him. But on this team, is the 5, man. Like, don't hate it.
That's the thing is typically when you're on the clock with Worthy, he's typically like a team's RB or wide receiver 4. I feel a little bit less comfy about that. Obviously, it can work in various builds, but I mean, in this build, we still have all kinds of time to figure out the other two positions. So it's really nice on this build.
Yeah, makes sense here. I will say, so I say that I love all of the Chiefs. I think they're all great bets. I also like, because of it, I'm sort of with you where if I don't have Mahomes, often I do end up breaking the tie to another receiver in that same tier, because I'm like, well, this wide receiver gives me another quarterback out later, so I don't need to like panic later to get my stacks in. So I actually don't have like, I'm probably right around maybe slightly over the field on all the Chiefs. So even though I say I really like them, I'm still like, just because I'm breaking ties to the guys with quarterbacks still available, I end up not taking, a ton.
Yeah, I'm overweight on Rice just because his ADP got silly, but I'll probably end up, just because I love Mahomes so much, Chiefs to bounce back, I'll probably end up drafting a good amount of Worthy. Because I don't really see him getting flamed too much, just unless he has just like a massive preseason game. It's really
a couple
hard to
more of
project
those
him that
clips.
high.
A couple more of those clips
nice.
come out.
Yeah.
A couple more of those clips come out. They might be starting to get some steam here.
I did want Boston there.
Yeah, I liked that too. I was hovering. You want to pivot?
I'd be fine with either Lad or JSN. I like both. Both give us later quarterback outs, which is nice.
Yeah, a little double with Metcalf.
We could also go Ramondre and we could double. That's true. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, we'll double, because right now, man, I mean, we're looking at most likely Lawrence, JJM late if you want to stack with Justin, and then we could take Geno. Geno, man, we are really high on Geno. I don't think any other site is higher on Geno than we are. Just he's been really good, like underrated good. Ryan Grubb, interesting. Obviously, kind of more vertical attack. There is a slight risk that Sam Howell starts late in the season if the Seahawks stink, which I think is baked into a little bit of ADP, but he really, really projects well.
That's another team that I'm more worried than I think the field about the offensive line, similar to the Saints. What that means as far as the Geno and the skill position players, primarily the primary 3 wide receivers, I haven't really worked through fully yet. But it is something in the back of my mind where it's like, this is an offensive line that is projected to be bottom 5 this year. They have so much turnover. So they're a weird team for me this season.
Yeah, ranked really low in the fantasy points rankings. Looks like. Or wait. Yeah, very very low in every offensive line ranking set that I've looked at has them bottom 5. So that is, honestly, I have not factored that in enough. I feel like I factor in offensive line more for running backs, like for it's like more intuitive. Like I immediately think of the offensive line when I'm grading running backs. Probably should be factored in more with wide receivers than I do with the passing game. It's just like, because it obviously affects the entire offense, like how many points they're going to score.
Yeah, it does. It does, especially
a lot
with
more disruption.
Yeah, it's just exactly. Yeah, it's just blowing up the plays and the pressures. Really, with the Seahawks, though, they really need Charles Cross to develop. They've just got a bunch of developmental guys. They need Cross to come through in a big way. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, they've just got 3 awesome wide receivers. Like, all these guys are going to be able to get open independent of each other. All right. We'll get to this question here. JT, my strategy says I want to have the best RB room. I draft 3 RBs in the first 3 rounds. I don't understand why you're chasing wide receiver. Mark, you want to talk to JT a little bit why we're chasing wide receivers up the board?
And we've talked about this a lot in this space. Typically, historically, and the 4 data points that we have, we've seen the biggest ADP movements throughout the summer, throughout the entire time that we can draft these contests at the running back position. And that makes sense from a just understanding football sense, because we know in fantasy setting, running backs are driving the highest correlative function of running back fantasy scoring is volume. So that volume can change the easiest throughout the offseason with things like injuries, with depth chart battles. And we see that psychological aspect then take over into ADP. So I'll continue that here after we make this pick, because we're coming up.
Yeah, we got a little running back pool here forming,
which is nice because we do need running backs. I'll give you a couple thoughts. So we could also take Brock Bowers because we have 0 tight ends. I don't know how high you guys are. I mean, I guess I can see where he's ranked. You have him ranked pretty low. Damn. Okay. You don't like Brock Bowers. So let's go with a running back. Who are your top ranked?
We got Swift, Moss, Mostert. Man,
I'd be fine with any. Pretty high on Moss.
Yeah, I've got Moss ranked highest.
I've been smashing him,
Yeah, the Bengals backfield, man, is just kind of...
I like them both. Yeah, I take a ton of Chase Brown, too.
Yeah, they're too cheap right now. They're too cheap. Well, JT, one of the reasons we're taking 3 receivers, or at least 2 receivers in the first 3 rounds, is this whole pool has not shifted. 70 through 90, I mean, we're still drafting quality RB2s. Look, they obviously do not have the ceiling of Kyron Williams or Devon Achane or Derrick Henry, but that's kind of not the point. The point is just to have enough replacement level points to where your receivers are just going absolute ape shit every single week, and you're just kind of making up ground at running back. You're holding steady at running back. And with this team, I mean, we've got Mixon and Moss, who are in theory could be, at least Mixon is. We know Mixon's going to be a bell cow.
It's Moss within the range of outcomes.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
And we could still, at this point, get 3 more running backs who have that within the range of outcomes to be like the bell cow from the start.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why it's like you were saying. I don't know, Mark, if you were still going with your
No, yeah, I think it's just a general tendency in the human brain to look at things too rigidly, to want to have answers, to look for like ones and zeros or absolutes, where if we boil it down into a range of outcomes discussion, like we can more clearly visualize how an entire roster can come together. And right now, and this could change in the future if running, if that chunk, like you were talking about, Graham, like from the 70s to the 90s, that pocket of running back, if that is disrupted, then that's going to shift like how we're theoretically like optimally attacking this ADP meta or whatever that's built right now. So as of right now, it just makes most sense to be projecting those movements instead of being left with a portfolio full of,
You want to go Bowers? I'm hovering over Burrow here, 10 spots at past ADP with Moss, but we can go Bowers.
So we could, if you want to add on Jermaine Burton later, we could. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
I don't love having
we'll
stack
take
with
Bowers
only the running
Olave.
back, but
no, we're gonna take Bowers with Olave.
Hell yeah,
and he's a little past ADP here.
Yeah,
this is a great spot for Bowers on this team.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off, Neil. What were you gonna say? But about Burrow?
Oh, just I don't typically want my quarterback to be stacked with only a running back. Like I want to have at least one wide receiver, tight end with them.
Right.
And like the studs on the Bengals are already gone. I do think like if you throw on a Jermaine Burton, like we don't know, Jermaine Burton might be a thing this year. Like he might be great. I've been drafting a ton of Jermaine Burton, so could work out if we take Burton later. But I wouldn't want to have just Burrow with Zach Moss. To me, that's not strongly correlated enough that's what I want in week 17.
Yeah, I mean, unless.
Yeah, we threw on Andre Yoshavash on one
I'd
of them
be happy with that
the
too.
last round.
Yeah, baby.
He was one of my highest owned players in the pre-draft stuff, and I'm still not like I don't feel bad about that. Like it's like things didn't go perfectly for him with them drafting Burton, but I still think that's well within the range of outcomes that he is the wide receiver 3.
Well, yeah, we don't know who's going to play slot for them, right? Like it probably will be Chase, and having Burton as a legitimate like 20 A-dot field stretcher is going to be huge for their offense. Like I don't know how many targets he earns, but yeah, Yoshivas has a path. Neil, we have some really cool data coming out the next couple of weeks. And,
you always have cool data coming out.
It's true. Yoshivas actually looks small sample stuff, but he looks pretty good. Bet Sweats, I got to answer your question here. How are you able to get the My Rank section? That's a game changer. So all you do, you go to fantasypoints.com, you check our tools section, click download the CSV, and then you upload it back into Underdog. That'll give you the updated rankings that are tied to projections. I update those daily. And yeah, man, it really is a game changer. Especially if you're drafting a ton and you're drafting on your computer a ton, it's really, really nice to have. So yeah, definitely got to have the My Ranks in there. Check it out on Fantasy Points. And if you are not subscribed to fantasypoints.com, use promo code FANTASYPTS. Get up to $250 deposit match on Underdog, and you get yourself a $5 subscription to the site. Neil, we always have sick data coming out, but this wide receiver
is this
stuff
the ass? Is this the ass thing?
You're gonna become an ass man, a big time ass man. Get your ass ready.
I'm so ready.
Yeah, bro, it's gonna be crazy. But this season, I gotta ask, man, like that whole pocket of quarterbacks, like we were having this discussion about Purdy, and Purdy's kind of starting to slip a little. I've got him a little ahead of ADP. That whole pocket, Stroud, Love, Dak, Purdy, like all these projected great. You could add Goff to that mix too. All these guys, like, they're all kind of starting to slip. Is there anybody on like one of these, teams that you're like, okay, I'm significantly higher than this offense, therefore I'm significantly higher on this quarterback?
Burrow would be that guy for me. Like
nice.
I draft a ton of Chase. I love throwing on a Burton later. I'll take Higgins. Like, yes. So Burrow is definitely that guy for me. And I do like having the running back in that stack too. Do we have any, is Trevor here or did Trevor go?
Trevor is gone, unfortunately.
Okay. Do we have any stacks?
Nothing.
We don't have any stacks. I like Javonte. Yeah,
I was going to say Javonte too.
Ooh.
3 late bye week backs gives you a whole lot of options to take some late darts.
Yeah, we'll take Javonte here. Man, I have not moved. I literally have not moved my Javonte ranking all year, bro. Yeah. And it's nice to actually get him at ADP.
Yeah.
Where I've wanted him all year. He's going round 9. I was okay with him. I'm more than okay with him now in round 10. And look, I've been saying this like all off season. The job is Javonte's to lose. It's so clear they want him to be the early down guy. Obviously, there's more competition, but the job is so clearly his to lose. And all Sean Payton has done this offseason is hype him up. I mean, Javonte was really bad last year. I think there's going to be a pretty short leash for him, but round 10 is pretty nice. I will say it's pretty nice.
I have been a little bit different from you in that I have been fickle and swaying with the tides with Javonte. When it came out like, oh, he might be cut, I was like, all right, wheels up for Estime. So it was less of a I don't like Javonte as much as there's so much upside in Estime in round 18. So I'm going to skip over Javonte, take Estime later. Whereas now it's like Sean Payton's like, I told him that I wanted him to cut weight and look like the guy who was in college. And then he did that. Like you say, everything that he said has been glowing for Javonte. So I'm like, I'm going to take my share. I'm going to take a ton of Javonte here. I still like Estime too. I think they're all pretty good bets where they go.
Yeah.
That's been an even weirder situation because everything you hear from the head coach's mouth has been like middling or positive on Javonte, and everything from the beat writers is just
right. He might get cut any minute now.
Yeah. I mean, when that happens, it makes me think that there's like a source that they have, when it's like that just kind of inline drum beat, if you will. But Sean is not a bullshitter. Sean Payton is not a bullshitting kind of guy. Purdy's way past ADP. I don't know if you want to go there with him.
I would still, I wouldn't. I would go Charbonnet for part of our Seattle stack.
Ooh, okay. I do have him second after Cormier, so we'll do that. I like that. Yeah, Charbonnet is a little underrated right now. I think Ken Walker's better, just more talented. But I mean, if Walker gets hurt, man, like Charbonnet has back end RB1 in his range of outcomes. We're just talking about Seahawks offense potentially stinking, but like he's a classic. Like he'll get you exactly what's blocked. He'll have touchdown equity. He can catch it okay. Really, really nice pick, right? Especially for this team. We could probably stop at 5 running backs with this team, the way it's shaken out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've got a nice team going. I want to say, since Scott DM'd me and said that he's watching and that I can announce that I'm doing the Showdown articles for Fantasy Points this year. So I'll be doing Monday, Thursday, Sunday, doing articles on Fantasy Points this year, which I'm super excited about. I love Showdown. It's been kind of my thing for a while now. So yeah, excited to be writing those for Fantasy Points this year.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Man. Neil is a legendary DFS player, obviously biased, but it's going to be great stuff. Neil's going to absolutely crush that if you're in the Showdown streets. I'm sure our entire NFL DFS Discord is doing cartwheels right now. But yeah, going to be great. Neil, you'll have the Outside the Box show with Scott this year too.
Yep, doing that on Saturdays.
Great stuff, man.
Yeah, really looking forward to the DFS season.
Yeah, it's getting close. Gosh, it's getting close. We'll have real football on our television screens next Thursday. It's going to be awesome.
I mean, it's only been about a month since we had real football with the UFL.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I just totally offended you.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Come on, you can't be saying that to me. Very rude.
Yeah, sorry about that. Listen, UFL is very real football. It's just the minor leagues. It's okay. They're branding it right.
They are really, honestly. It should be like a developmental league for the NFL. Like, feels like
it kind of turned into that this year. Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah. I think they're doing it the right way at this point. I don't think anybody really cared about the zaniness of the XFL. Treat it like it's an actual football league, and these guys want to make the NFL teams. Bones is asking, I was going to ask you guys if it's terrible to have horrible exposure on all the top 2 to 3 quarterbacks. I've built solely around value. It depends. Horrible exposure to me on those guys would be like 20% a piece. If you're just like locking in all the, every draft you're drafting the same is probably not sharp. But yeah, man, I mean, if you're just jamming some of those guys in a little more ahead of ADP.
I thought he was saying the opposite. I thought he was saying that picking the value quarterbacks instead of those guys.
Oh, did I read that wrong? Horrible exposure on the top 2 to 3. Oh, horribly bad exposure. Okay, yeah. No, I don't think so. Neil, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I don't think so either. I actually like the top quarterbacks this year. I feel like they've fallen a couple rounds from where they've gone historically. So I'm pretty into the elite quarterbacks, but I also don't think that's wrong. If you want to go 3 value quarterbacks, like I think that's a viable way to build as well.
Yeah, this is a great year for 3 value quarterbacks. Sorry, I wrote your question there wrong, Bones. But yeah, this is a great year, and we're going to do it on this draft. Take 3 value quarterbacks. As we're talking here, quarterbacks have fallen in this draft. I do think we can keep pushing.
Yeah. I'd be fine with Ty Chandler, Marshawn Lloyd. Or do we have 5 running backs already?
We have 4. Chandler would make a lot of sense with Jefferson.
Yeah. That's a good pick.
I have them ranked back to back. So yeah. We might be able to stop here. Our receivers are hot. We could take a 6th back, but we could definitely stop here at 5.
So what is our team currently?
We have got 4 receivers start. Sorry. Jefferson, Olave, Metcalf, Kirk. Took Mixon. We got Xavier Worthy at the wide receiver 5. JSN at 6. Wouldn't hate trying to get one of those Bears. I know you like Khalil Herbert quite a bit on this team, but then 4 straight backs. Got Bowers in the mix. I think this probably should be Geno here. Just push him. Maybe not, actually.
Yeah, not with the way quarterbacks.
160. He's 166. We got 164.
I think you risk it. Who the Lockett drafter? I think just the Lockett drafter is all we're worried about, right?
Yeah.
Let me see where he's at. Whoops.
Unless somebody at the turn is getting desperate and is going to go like Geno with Noah Fant or something. But
Lockett's 12.
Yeah, and he needs another quarterback. Maybe we do jam in Geno here. I don't hate it. Yeah. It's one round ahead of ADP. It's not two.
Yeah.
Real quick, let's scan. Sorry. Not Kendra. I buried him at 185. Any of these guys popping for you, Neil? I don't really think so. Anybody over Geno?
I mean, no. Yeah, I think here with the way things have gone, I think we just go Geno. Like I do love me some Burton. Pearsall, I think is interesting. But in this, since we went 6 running backs in the first, 6 wide receivers in the first 7 rounds, I think we just go Geno here.
All right, that's fine. Yeah, we've jammed in Geno. I'm just thinking ahead here. 164. Whoops.
Yeah. I wouldn't hate like Hunter Henry. Give us one more late quarterback out.
Yeah, that's why I was just thinking at tight end is.
Yeah, same.
If he does get there,
could also take Noah Fant, add on to our stack. If Henry doesn't come back to us.
I love Noah. I love Noah Fant this year. It's so gross how much I love him, but God, I do love him. Like the only time Ryan Grubb talked about Pharaoh Brown this offseason, he's like, yeah, that dude's just a blocker. No offense, going to be my guy.
He's a big boy.
Yeah. Neil, is there any guys that you've been like really pushing up in your rankings past like 150? Any guys that you've been pushing up the last couple of weeks as we've gotten closer?
Estime has been one of them. Like I just think that there is some possibility that he beats out Javonte. Like I said, I'm drafting a ton of Javonte too, but I just think that backfield is so valuable that I'm willing to take shots on those 3 at least: Javonte, Julian McLaughlin, and Estime. Haven't really been doing the Watson thing that much, but I love all 3 of those. Trying to think who else. Eli Mitchell, I really like his late round pick. As you said, I love Khalil Herbert. Eli Mitchell to me is just like when you think about where would he go in the draft if McCaffrey got hurt preseason? Like if McCaffrey gets hurt the last week of the preseason, where does Eli Mitchell go in the draft? And I think there are some running backs who we like because they have a little bit more standalone value. But I think Eli Mitchell's contingent value is just massive. Of course, he's also an injury risk himself, so that is the downside to Eli Mitchell. But
I will say this is like the first time he's been healthy in a long time. I mean, the dude has dealt with like degenerative knee issues, but he has, clean bill of health. Isaac Grindo, who just got, they drafted him. He just got hurt yesterday, pulled a hammy. Jordan Mason would probably mix in a little bit. But I'm definitely with you. I've bumped Mitchell way up in my rankings.
Neil, I'll ask the question and answer after we pick. What are you doing with the Chargers backfield? Because we know that it's probably going to be fantasy friendly. We have Gus Edwards, who's kind of depressed, and then it's like a massive gap until we get to Kamani Vidal and J.K. Dobbins. Are you drafting those guys late?
I am. I guess I'll answer the question after we. Yeah, I'd go Henry first just to give us the extra quarterback up. So I draft a lot of Gus Edwards too. I really like Gus Edwards around ADP. Like I'm not reaching ahead of ADP for Gus Edwards because a lot of people don't like him. They're completely out on Edwards. I'm still willing to just bet on the situation, even if the talent maybe has fallen off a little bit. Who knows? It's kind of a small sample size of the talent declining a bit. So I do like Gus Edwards where he's going. I think that he's the best bet to be the lead back there. Kamani Vidal, I'm not as into it as some people are. I think that you can certainly make a pretty large upside case for Vidal. So I think he's fine if he falls a little bit past like the Algier, the Ty Chandler kind of range. Like there are other running backs I prefer in that range, but clearly he has the upside. It's just I want to hear some kind of positive rumblings, and like you just are not hearing anything about Kamani Vidal from Chargers camp. So I'm a little bit scared of it. And J.K. Dobbins, I'm actually willing to mix in a little bit. I know the injury situation is scary. He just can't stay healthy, but I think, he says he's feeling healthy. He's apparently looking good so far in camp. So I'm willing to draft all 3. I'm not as high on them as I am with the Broncos situation, but I still am willing to draft all 3. What are you guys doing with them?
I'm almost in. If I if I looked, I probably am around 30% composite on all three as a
pretty high.
backfield, just because I think that situation is fantasy conducive.
Yeah.
I'd have to go check though. Honestly, now I'm curious.
Do you have one that you are like targeting more than the others?
It's Gus.
Yeah,
me.
Gus.
But the other two, I'm kind of mixing in at even frequency, I think.
Yeah, sounds like we're pretty in lockstep.
Yeah, I mean Gus has no, receiving juice, but the touchdown equity is pretty strong with him. Chargers have a really good offensive line.
Yes.
Do we want to do something other than tight end since we already have two, or you guys want to make this?
No, please talk to me.
Tight end build.
Talk to me.
No, I'm open, just thinking about the quarterback situation. Is there anybody else we want to take here? We probably don't need to yet if we with Minnesota, New Orleans, and New England outs.
Yeah, we've got
going Fant.
Yeah, we could just lock up tight end here because after that it's
done.
It's kind of it's gonna fall off here. Yeah, let's lock up Fant. We'll go massive Seahawks stack. Yeah. All the Geno money. Thomas behind the scenes, I know you're thrilled with this team. Biggest Geno slappy in fantasy football.
Is he?
Yeah, no, he's a huge Geno fan. I think it's mainly a dynasty thing because he's so cheap, but full on Seahawks onslaught here, and we'll just keep pushing quarterback. We're gonna at least take two, so it solves two of the last three spots. I'm more on Gus. I don't know how much Vidal I've drafted. Very, very little. I think he's battling with Isaiah Spiller for the 3 spot.
Good point.
I think it's very, very clear it's going to be Gus and Dobbins 1 and 2. I think Vidal really needs Dobbins to die again to really have any value,
which is possible to be fair.
Very, very dude. And Gus is 29. I mean, Vidal definitely has an out. But where he's going, he just went 148 in this draft.
That was
not knocking the pick, but slightly a little bit. I'm with you, Neil. I mean, there's just been nothing about him all off season. If there was he's looking good, he's playing ahead of Isaiah Spiller early in camp. There's been none of that. So preseason is going to be massive for this backfield. I think that's where we'll get all of our answers is what this looks like in preseason.
I also historically J.K. Dobbins has played ahead of Gus, which makes me a little bit nervous about how much I like Gus, because I'm like, well, would they rather play J.K. Dobbins? If he is healthy enough, is J.K. Dobbins going to be the running back one? He might be if he's healthy enough, if he looks anything like his old self. So that's why I out of fear I mix in some J.K. Dobbins, because it's like, man, this could be a slam dunk if it works out.
Yeah, Daniel Jeremiah over at the NFL Network, ultimate ball knower, he works with the Chargers, and he said early this offseason, Dobbins, draft Dobbins in every fantasy league, and that just stuck in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, Dobbins, dude, betting against a guy who's popped an Achilles and popped his knee really bad, it's really easy to bet against him. But dude, he might be. I mean, he's one injury away. He's one Gus injury away from having this back.
Are you sure though that it's even
maybe not even,
already?
Right?
Yeah. No, that's very fair. It's very fair. All right, we're gonna draft a couple quarterbacks here. For this team, I think Carr probably is most important. And then one of these rookies.
JJ. Yep. Agreed.
All right, we'll go Carr here.
And then I'm open to whichever of the rookies you guys prefer.
May has more rushing upside, but Vikings offense is just so much better.
And we do have the double stack sort of with Ty Chandler.
Yeah.
So I guess that's
all right,
we'll do tiebreaker.
All right, we'll do that. I think, let's see, this guy's got 3. This guy's got 2. With who? Who's he got?
What are you guys doing with Jordan Addison?
Oh, man.
I was already below industry consensus prior to the off the field issues.
Okay.
And then that happened, and he's moved a little bit, but I was expecting, he's really trickled down in ADP. He did not fall off a cliff or anything.
True.
So yeah, I'm below industry on Addison.
Yeah, Addison was honestly a little bit of a lesson learned kind of guy for me this offseason. Yes, sure, he scored the long touchdowns, but per route efficiency wasn't great. Jefferson and Hawkinson both out-earned him target wise. It's kind of like the lesson I learned with Jahan Dotson last year. Like I loved Dotson coming out of college, so it's a little bit of like just bias, loving the prospect, but same red flags. Not a great target earner his rookie year, got bailed out with the long touchdowns. I thought Addison was kind of like that, and now he's possibly suspended for 3 rounds. I've got him in the hundreds. I think unless he gets into the 9th round, which he kind of is starting now, I don't think I'm going to draft him a whole lot.
Yeah. What about the other end of it? Are you drafting any like Brandon Powell or Josh Oliver? I mean, Josh Oliver might have value because Hawkinson is out anyway, but maybe he gets.
It feels so thin on Underdog. It just feels really thin. I think I could do it on another site where there's 20 rounds, but it feels a little thin on 18.
Yeah. I think I've done it once with Brandon Powell. One time out of my 280 drafts or whatever I'm at.
Yeah. I'm sure I have a few Powell teams too. I did read a beat report. Jalen Naylor, they're going to try to give him a chance at the 3 or 4 job. They have to do something, man. They have the worst depth in the NFL.
Yeah.
They could definitely sign somebody, but I think Powell he's fine for darts. Speaking of darts, last round darts, we got to draft a 7th receiver here.
I see Trey Tucker. I don't mind that.
Yeah. Like that call. I bumped him way up once Gallup retired. What else for this team?
I don't hate Rondell Moore as a last round pick if he makes it. Greg Dortch seems like a fine pick. Do we have any other correlative pieces?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking that as well.
I mean, could like Bo Melton, I suppose, too, right? For a Viking stack. Bring back.
Yeah, no, I don't hate that either.
Chavez is there.
Oh boy,
so many.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
I made the joke on a pod when I first heard about Andre Yoshivas that he sounds like a tennis player. Dude should absolutely be on the ATP tour.
Yeah.
Oh man. Tyler says, "Hey, I know Neil. He's goofy but nice. Hi, Neil."
Hey. What's going on, Tyler?
And Andrew, another rave review. He said Neil's helping take down a showdown slate. So
glad to hear that.
Yeah, make sure you're checking out Neil's showdown content on the site. 3 showdown slates every week. God's Game Showdown. We'll be back, and Neil will be doing it, man. So make sure you're checking it out. All right. We've got our entire queue here. And I mean, all these guys are relatively the same except for Melton. I mean, really,
Tucker is correlated, I guess.
Yeah.
We could, RNG. That's a good call. No late round Bears that I really want. No Packers.
No. Yeah.
Kind of along. Yeah.
Yeah. Not taking Tyler Scott chances. Sorry.
I kind of like Malik Washington as a last round pick, not necessarily for this team, but just see the name there. I'm like, he's a guy that I feel like, the Mike McDaniel, like it just sticks in my mind. The Mike McDaniel, like I was really pestering them to go get you. I really wanted Malik Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Mark's a big Malik Washington guy too.
I started the offseason. He was I was clicking him probably 20% frequency in the 18th. I haven't taken him in a while, so that's fallen off a lot.
Odell Beckham went there, so it kind of scared us all off a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, OBJ is just he's going to be a rotational player no matter what, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll take a little Trey Tucker action. I don't think Tucker is going to be very highly owned up until this point of BBM. So nice little team here. 3 quarterbacks with Geno, 3 late round quarterbacks, Geno, Derek Carr, JJ McCarthy. Got a little Viking stack going on. Of course, Joe Mixon's on this team. I think Joe Mixon's probably been drafted in almost every stream we've done this year. Sick wide receivers, and honestly, 2 really good late round tight ends with Bowers. That's the way to build a Bowers team. Neil, awesome stuff, man.
This is fun. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, make sure you're checking out Neil's YouTube page. I know he's streaming and ripping drafts every single week. You can always learn a lot from Neil. We'll be back next week, next Thursday, with another draft. We'll have some football on. It's going to be a good time, man. Hall of Fame game is going to be back next week. We got preseason ball. It's my favorite time of the year. Guys, if we don't win $1 million, I hope we see you at the top of the leaderboards.
What? Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome.